Imagine this. A Chinese company invests $1.3 billion in a port in Peru, acquires 60% of its shares, and gains exclusive rights to operate it for 30 years. Everything seems set for a smooth project. But just when the port is almost complete, the Peruvian government suddenly cancels these operating rights. It sounds like the start of a political thriller, right? Yet, the story doesn't end there. By June 2024, the Peruvian president personally visits China and takes the unusual step of asking the courts to restore China's exclusive rights. On top of that, Peru announces a massive $21 billion investment plan to build railways connecting the port to the rest of the country. This is more than just a business deal gone sideways. It's a story about politics, economics, and global influence, all colliding in one port city. And the question that drives this story is simple. Why would Peru first cancel the rights and then reverse course so dramatically? To understand this twist, we need to go back to the beginning of the Chancay Port project and explore why it matters, not just for China and Peru, but for all of South America. The story of the Chancay Port begins in 2019, when China set its sights on expanding its influence in South America through the Belt and Road Initiative. The goal was straightforward: invest in infrastructure that could boost trade and strengthen ties with key countries. Peru became a prime candidate. Its location on the Pacific coast and its growing economy made it strategically important. After negotiations, China's COSCO Shipping Group agreed to invest $1.3 billion to build the port of Chancay. Under the deal, Chinese companies would hold 60% of the shares and receive exclusive operating rights for 30 years, a rare privilege in South America. The project was ambitious. It aimed to transform a small coastal town into a major logistics hub, directly linking Peru to Asia. Construction officially started in 2021, with the Peruvian government expecting completion by the end of 2025. This wasn't just another port. It was the first port in South America to be directly managed and operated by a Chinese company. For China, it represented a strategic foothold in the region, a gateway not just for goods, but for influence. And for Peru, it was a chance to modernize infrastructure and attract foreign investment. The stage was set for what could have been a smooth, mutually beneficial project. But as we'll see, international politics and strategic calculations were about to complicate everything. So, to understand why the Chancay Port caused so much attention, we really need to look at its strategic value. The port isn't just another dock along the coast. It's actually designed to handle ultra-large container ships, with 4 berths capable of accommodating vessels carrying up to 18,000 TEUs, or 20-foot equivalent units. That's massive, enough to rival some of the world's busiest ports. The port's initial design allows for 1 million TEUs per year, with plans to expand to 1.5 million. This means it can handle huge volumes of international trade, making it a vital gateway between South America and Asia. Its location, just 58 kilometers from Lima, also provides excellent natural deep-water conditions, reducing construction costs and allowing the biggest ships to dock without issues. From a logistics perspective, the benefits are huge. Currently, shipping from South America to Asia takes about 35 days if you go around traditional routes like the Panama Canal or the Strait of Magellan. Once Chancay is operational, that time could drop to just 25 days, saving 10 days on a single trip. Imagine the reduction in fuel costs, storage fees, and overall shipping expenses. For China, the port is more than a trade hub. It's a strategic foothold in South America. For the rest of the continent, Chancay has the potential to become a regional logistics center, similar to how Singapore serves Southeast Asia today. It's a place where trade flows converge, goods are efficiently managed, and new economic opportunities emerge. In short, Chancay is not just a port. It's a game-changer for regional trade, logistics, and geopolitics, and that's exactly why its exclusive operation rights became such a hot-button issue. Just as the port of Chancay was nearing completion, tensions erupted. The Peruvian government suddenly claimed that granting exclusive operating rights to a Chinese company could pose a security threat and attempted to revoke COSCO Shipping's franchise. But this move didn't happen in isolation. The United States quickly voiced strong concern, warning about the so-called China threat. American officials suggested that China could use the port for military purposes, or, expand its influence over South American countries through economic means. Some scholars even revived the idea of economic coercion, arguing that China's investment might give it, undue leverage in the region. From Peru's perspective, this was tricky. On one hand, they had signed an agreement with China, invested years of planning, and relied on Chinese funding. On the other hand, there was pressure from a powerful ally, one with considerable influence in the region. So, in the context of global power competition, Peru's abrupt cancellation of the port's exclusive rights appears to have been, heavily influenced by international politics. This moment was absolutely critical. It could have derailed China's first major port project in South America, while also showing just how sensitive South American countries are to United States-China rivalry. The stage was set for a high-stakes political and economic negotiation. While politics definitely created tension, economics soon became, the deciding factor. Peru realized that canceling the port's exclusive rights could carry huge financial consequences. China had been Peru's largest trading partner for 8 consecutive years, with trade totaling $31.3 billion from January to September 2024, a 15% increase from the previous year. Losing smooth cooperation with China would have been a major economic blow. The numbers made the decision clearer. The first phase of the Chancay Port alone was projected to generate about $4.5 billion in annual revenue for Peru, and create more than 8,000 direct jobs. Beyond the port itself, the project was a key node linking trade routes across South America, offering long-term economic growth. Recognizing these realities, Peru's president personally intervened. In June 2024, he visited China, held in-depth discussions, and pushed for restoring the port's exclusive operating rights. Peru even amended its national port system law to reverse the previous legal actions against COSCO Shipping. This reversal highlights an important lesson. Despite political pressures, economic incentives can override short-term fears. By reinstating China's rights, Peru not only avoided potential losses but also positioned itself to benefit from one of the most significant infrastructure projects in its history. Restoring China's operating rights was just the beginning. To fully leverage the Chancay Port, Peru announced an ambitious $21 billion investment plan focused on transportation infrastructure. Central to this plan are 2 major railways, one running about 300 kilometers from Lima to Ica in the south, and another about 245 kilometers from Lima to Barranca in the north. These railways are more than tracks on a map. They're lifelines connecting the port to Peru's national economic network. By linking major ports like Chancay, Callao, and Barranca, goods can move faster and more efficiently across the country. For businesses, this means lower shipping costs, faster delivery times, and a stronger connection between coastal ports and inland markets. Think of it like upgrading from a 2-lane country road to a high-speed highway network. Suddenly, trade flows aren't bottlenecked at one point. They can move seamlessly across the country, opening up new opportunities for investment, export, and economic growth. Beyond domestic benefits, these railways also lay the foundation for regional integration. Once completed, northern routes could connect to Ecuador, Colombia, and Panama, while southern routes reach Chile and even the Strait of Magellan. In other words, the railways amplify the port's reach across South America, turning Chancay into a true continental hub. The vision for Chancay doesn't stop at Peru's borders. The bigger picture is a transcontinental trade network known as the Two Oceans Railway, designed to connect the Pacific coast of Peru to the interior of Brazil and ultimately the Atlantic coast. This railway would stretch thousands of kilometers, crossing the Andes and the Amazon, linking landlocked countries like Bolivia and Paraguay to the Pacific. The impact could be transformative. Right now, trade from Brazil, Bolivia, and Paraguay to Asia relies on these long and costly routes, either through the Panama Canal, around the Strait of Magellan, or, via the Indian Ocean. But with this railway, goods could reach the Chancay Port in just 23 to 30 days, cutting shipping time by nearly half and reducing costs significantly. Other South American countries are already taking notice. Brazil is discussing connections to its highways and freight railways, and Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay could also use the corridor to access the Pacific. The result? A truly integrated continental trade network, offering new opportunities for regional commerce and economic growth. Strategically, this challenges traditional trade flows dominated by the Panama Canal, which is honestly heavily influenced by the United States. If the Chancay-centered network succeeds, it could shift the balance of logistics power in the region, giving South America more autonomy over its trade routes. In short, Chancay is no longer just a port, it's the cornerstone of a potential South American continental bridge. The story of the Chancay Port is a perfect example of how economics, politics, and strategy collide in the real world. What began as a $1.3 billion investment by China evolved into a drama of canceled rights, diplomatic interventions, and a massive $21 billion infrastructure plan. The port itself is a game-changer, reducing shipping times, increasing trade efficiency, and positioning China as a key player in South America. The addition of 2 railways, and the potential 2 Oceans Railway, shows that infrastructure isn't just about transportation. It's about shaping regional influence, economic growth, and geopolitical balance. For Peru, the lesson is clear. Balancing international pressures with domestic economic benefits is critical. By restoring China's operating rights, Peru not only avoided economic losses but also opened the door to transformative projects that could benefit the entire continent. And for the world, Chancay signals a shift. Trade routes, logistics hubs, and regional networks are no longer just local concerns. They're arenas where global powers compete for influence. The rise of Chancay may challenge the dominance of traditional corridors like the Panama Canal and change the way goods move across South America forever. If you want to follow these developments and understand how global infrastructure projects reshape the world, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. There's a lot more happening behind the scenes, and this is just the beginning.